Ah, Circe, the beauty and the beast of Odyssey, the woman who spent her weekends having long walks on the beach and poisoning her enemies. One of Odysseus' most memorable enemies, Circe for sure left an impression on our main character and the audiences. Hi everyone, I'm Serpentine, also known as the girl who just can't stop doing videos on Epic the Musical. In this video, I again will rate the designs of one of the epic characters, namely Circe. For those who are new here, Epic the Musical is a fantasy musical based on an ancient Greek poem, Odyssey. And Circe is one of the characters there. She is an enchantress who attempts to curse Odysseus and his crew by turning them into pigs. In the end, she and Odi make up and become besties, and she even helps him get home. The amazing fandom of this musical produced many animatics of the songs featuring lovely designs, which I rate in my videos. This one is a part of an ongoing series on my channel. You are welcome to check the other character rankings, which include Poseidon, Hermes, Zeus and Athena. Before we start, a word of warning. While I do analyze the designs and animatics, the main criteria of my marks is how hot I find the character design. It's as subjective as can be. Alrighty, now let's start. A certified classic, it is one of my absolute favorite depictions of Circe. Wolfy is an amazing artist and a fantastic character designer. Despite being relatively simple, this design perfectly encapsulates all there is to know about Circe in terms of her character. Namely her confidence and overpowerment of Odysseus, which is prevalent throughout the first part of the song when she sings her solo. Unlike Poseidon or Zeus, for example, Circe isn't overly violent because her power lies not in physical power but in her wits, charms and magic. So she is much more indirect than the other gods. However, because she is inside her palace, Odysseus confronts Circe at her own home. She does not hide her intentions and her hostility towards Odysseus. This song is all about their confrontation and their trying to gain an advantage over one another. The tension is clearly seen in every move that Circe and Odysseus make. What I particularly love about Wolfy's animations is that they focus not only on character designs, but also on their movements and surroundings. The palace itself plays a role in conveying the tension and emotions of the characters. I particularly enjoy how they play with the various props on the improvised stage of their conflict. Namely Odysseus grabbing the flower, the snakes circling Odysseus' neck, and him getting them away, signifying that he is not under Circe's control. Each pose that the characters strike just makes you feel their animosity towards each other and their tension. This song is half playful, half dangerous, and I think that Wolfy really conveyed the sort of rivalry that both of those strong individuals have. Circe herself is extremely dangerous and extremely beautiful in her confidence and knowledge of her advantage over Odysseus. I am absolutely in love with her movements and expressions, and how she chooses every word to show how she's in charge here carefully. Also, the sexual tension for me personally is impeccable in this animatic.
I love you, darling!
Another gorgeous Circe design and another great animatic. This Circe is just so pretty. I particularly like her hairstyle, which is pretty elaborate and features many different accessories which refer to her power over plants and nature. Circe's wand, being the thing that holds the hairstyle together, is a very interesting character detail, and it works towards establishing her character as a sort of a sorceress, an enchantress. But also, as a girl myself, I must say that this is most unrealistic, because there is no way this wand holds the whole hair together. I've tried so many times and I failed miserably. Though Circe is a sorceress for a reason, so maybe she put some magic on it. Yet again, she's taller than Odysseus, which is, I think, pretty canon in all of the depictions of Circe I've seen so far. There is a lot going on for this Circe. For one, I think the artist had a lot of cool ideas to showcase how the emotions of the character changed throughout the fight. Namely, at the beginning of the song, Circe is calm and composed, But as soon as Odysseus challenges her, Circe's expression becomes annoyed. She pulls her wand out of her hair, showing that she is ready to confront him with violence if needed. And also her eyes start glowing gold, which is no doubt a nod to her being the daughter of Helios, the sun god, whose children characteristically have golden eyes. There is also a nice fighting sequence. It's nice because often the artist just depicts Circe and Odysseus sort of having this battle of words, but not actually touching each other or being violent towards each other. So there is a nice interpretation going on in this animatic.
You look gorgeous! Absolutely, nobody looks better than you!
I am a fan of Gwendy's works, and I am delighted that I can finally include their animatics in this video. Their designs are also quite simplistic, but I enjoy how they use color and how they choose which item to accent and which to leave black and white. I think it's a lovely touch, and it's a signature thing for their style. This Circe is all about seductiveness and trying to make Odysseus hers, which is not done out of love, but is another play for power. I think this song is very nicely done, and the artist created a lot of things that help us understand the moral conflict of the character. What I particularly enjoyed was how the environment also played a huge part in the song, and there are many instances when their characters' intentions are not delivered through the words but through the objects around the characters, such as Circe planning to actually stab Odysseus with her knife, or Odysseus looking at the swans who signify him and his wife. So yes, I would say that this particular animatic is very strong in terms of delivering the actual story and making a coherent narrative. Unfortunately, I cannot say that I am a big fan of their designs in terms of sexiness. This Circe is undoubtedly very attractive, and I love how the artist chose purple as her signature color, because purple is often associated with magic. This Circe also has a very lovely pair of eyes. And while I understand that this is a solid character design, it does not work for me personally.
You got it, darling!
I haven't heard of this artist before. It was the first video of theirs that I've seen, but I definitely enjoyed it very much. This animatic has a very nice style, which just works for me. Yes, it isn't as refined and features sketches, but I would say that they're very dynamic in terms of the usage of lines that indicate clothing and hair, and overall the designs don't look flat, that's what I want to say. The emotions are definitely ranging wild, and I loved how the artist used the colors changing to signify the change in power dynamics throughout the song. It's interesting how midway through this song, Circe's green got changed into Odysseus's red, and they stayed like that up until the very end. The Odysseus in this video is very confident and very cocky, and honestly he comes off as way more seductive than Circe herself. So you go, Shotkin, I guess. Circe is lovely, a very solid character design. I love her hairstyle, her laurel wreath on her head, and her small bag with flowers or plants, I presume. Nicely done.
You look gorgeous! Absolutely, nobody looks better than you!
A hidden treasure. I was also unfamiliar with this artist before and was blown away by their talent and attention to detail. Firstly, love the backgrounds. They are very detailed and are lovely to look at and analyze. The environment does not feel empty, it feels lived in, and it's full of background characters who are often ignored by many other animatics in favor of elevating Circe and Odysseus. I loved how the nymphs were actually present throughout the video and reacted to the fight, which was nice. There's also the fact that Odysseus's men are there looking at their captain fighting for their lives. Circe is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. This particular design, in my humble opinion, definitely gives some MILF vibes. But apart from me being thirsty for this goddess, let's just praise the attention to details this artist has. For instance, there is a sun pendant, which is again an allusion to the fact that Circe is the daughter of the sun god Helios, but she also has gills for ears, which also aligns with the actual Greek mythology, because she is the daughter of the ocean nymph Perse. I would say my absolute favorite part of this animatic is the fight between Circe and Odysseus, which is an official part of the musical's plot and was designed by Jay, the musical's creator. The fight truly feels epic and delivers to us, the viewers, the idea of how high the stakes are and that the characters are not playing around and are ready to take each other's lives if necessary.
I love you, darling!
Yet another addition to Mummy Circes' designs. I'm not complaining. Anniflamma is honestly one of my favorite epic artists, and I have a particular relationship of worship with her art style. I will admit, this design required some time for me to get used to and appreciate, but now I can confidently say that I love it very much, although it is definitely not my favorite. Still, it definitely embodies the goddess aspect of her character and transforms Circe into this godly being who literally is many times bigger than Odysseus. I think it's a very nice touch to show her power. Her long and luscious dark hair is very beautiful and definitely contrasts nicely with her golden eyes. There is nothing too out of ordinary with her character design, and it's honestly very grounded. Her dress is pretty and she has some details that allude to her godly parent Helios. She also has purple as her color. The fighting sequence was epic and I definitely enjoyed how intense it felt. A good one overall, though I would say that I like her Poseidon and Zeus animatics more. But this one is still very solid and very enjoyable.
You look gorgeous! Absolutely, nobody looks better than you!
Gigi's Circe makes me feel some very interesting feelings. This Circe is one of my favorites, and her design is impeccable, even compared to all the other Circes out there. It is just as seductive and graceful, but there is also so much fluidity and attractiveness in her motions that I can't tear my eyes away from her. Her clothes are properly revealing, but not too revealing as to destroy the impression of Circe as a character. Her long, beautiful hair, tied in a braid, speaks of her restraint, and when she sets it free, we get a glimpse of an untamed and passionate version of this character. I also love how she circles Odysseus, almost like a lioness stalking her prey. Really shows who's in charge here. Her every move speaks of promises of love, but it is all a lie to make Odysseus lower his defenses. Still, the act is working. All I have to say is that if Circe looked at me like that, my man would not get turned into humans again. Ever.
What did I do to you?
Sorry guys. Gigi knows how to shift the mood of the scene. Circe is all about charms and seductiveness, but it doesn't necessarily have to be about sex. She relishes in her power and beauty, and shows her passion both when seducing Odysseus and brewing her potion. When she talks about the dead prophet, the mood shifts dramatically, and the warm pink transforms into the cold blue of the underworld. The kinder side of Circe is a delight to watch, and her interactions with Odysseus, first full of sexual tension, then of a blossoming friendship, is a delight to watch.
I love you, darling!
I have always loved Britt's more realistic art style and proportions, which are in contrast to the more cartoony styles of the many artists in the epic fandom. That being said, I think this particular animatic and Circe are a bit too realistic for my liking. What I mean is that while the design itself is beautiful, it feels almost too restrained for a character like Circe, like she's holding back on her appearance and movements. There isn't a lot of movement in the animatic. The characters mostly walk and talk, but the facial expressions are, in my opinion, stale and almost unchanging. Odysseus' crew, who got cured, show more emotions than Circe throughout the whole video. To be fair, it is a very pretty animatic, and the backgrounds are lovely to look at. At the end of it, Circe even shows some impressive magic feats. I don't think this is a bad animatic or a bad design. I just wonder what it could have been if it were even bolder.
Okay.
Another lovely animatic that I enjoyed. This one is surprisingly chill and funny for a song like that. I don't feel any sort of sexual tension between Odi and Circe, and the conflict quickly resolves. What I mean is that everyone is reasonably calm here, and after Odi and Circe make up, this animatic becomes quite funny, what with the exaggerated movements and facial expressions. Shout out to the artist for coloring Odi's flashback baby blue, which is At least for me, Athena's and his signature colors, not to mistake for Poseidon's deep blue. As for Circe, while she is pretty, there is nothing in her that would make me say, wow, I want this woman to turn me into a pig. The flowers in her hair are a nice touch, but I fail to see the point of her weirdly shaped belt. Points for making her taller than Odysseus though, as she should be.
Okay.
A dummy mummy Circe has entered the chat. I'm not even going to pretend she isn't. Just look at this woman. Those eyes are everything. Not a trace of kindness in them, even when she lures the man in. Her every motion is full of dominance and cold calculations. She is beautiful, and she knows that. And she knows she's powerful. I enjoyed Circe dominating every frame she was in. Her design on itself is also a delight. A very flattering dress adorns her hourglass figure, and her dark hair is put in an elaborate bun. There's danger in this Circe, and there is cold, but you still can't resist her allure.
I love you, darling!
This Circe really channels her anime villainous energy. The whole animatic is pretty much anime inspired. This can be seen from the art style, the poses, and character expressions. I'm all for it, honestly. The artist has their vision, and it's working. The animatic is colorful and full of emotion. I like Odys and Circe's signature colors clashing during the fight, and how much the artist draws parallels between the two characters. Circe is very pretty. I like her. Love the butterfly motif. That's something new. Also, the tattoo on her right shoulder is a nice touch. Other than that, it's just a nice, solid design, but nothing that makes me howl.
You got it, darling!
This is an absolute gem of an animatic. Everything in it is excellent. The art style is such an eye candy. Personally, I adore the comic book feeling this work gives, and I think TheSmoolio definitely has a big talent when it comes to storyboarding. The backgrounds are rich and detailed, with stuff constantly happening outside of the singer's point of view. This could easily be made into an animated episode, considering the level of detail it has. All the characters have distinct designs and expressive, unique faces. The men in Odys' crew don't just feel like cartoon copies of one another. The same goes for Circe's nymphs. One of my favorite aspects of this animatic is how much action there is, and how the story is delivered in equal parts through the song and the art. The composition of this animatic is done very well, and the colors constantly switching to convey the mood really help to solidify my impression of this video as the best puppeteer interpretation up to date. This being said, Circe doesn't really work for me. She doesn't feel sexy, she doesn't feel seductive. Her design is well thought out on a technical level, but on an emotional level I do not feel any sort of attraction to her. This is the case of animatic being perfect, but the design in question not appealing to me, sadly.
You got it, darling!
Unfortunately, the animatic itself is unfinished, but the designs are beautiful. The art style is very detailed, the proportions are fairly realistic, and the interpretations of Circe and Odysseus are so charming. There's just something about those elf ears and her unhinged stare that scratches me in a right way. Technically, I'm not supposed to talk about Odysseus in this video, but damn, sir, please stop staring at me like that. You have wife at home. I think this animatic has a ton of potential, and I sincerely hope the artist finishes it someday.
You look gorgeous! Absolutely, nobody looks better than you!
The animatic is messy and unfinished, but I still love it. Probably because Circe's design feels fresh and interesting. Love the gold stripes in her hair, love the gold accessories adorning her, and love the nose. The nose is the piece de resistance. Artists, I beg you, give more women straight pointy noses. Please, they look gorgeous.
You got it, darling!
And that's all for today. So you agree with my Circe ranking? Which characters would you like I review next? As always, if I haven't reviewed your favorite Circe, please feel free to share the name of the artist in the comments. Thank you so much for viewing my videos. It would be lovely if you could subscribe because more is to come. While you're waiting, you can check out my other Epic the Musical character reviews. Well, see you later. Bye bye.